for a number of years, 3 or 4 years at least.
Okay.
And I would just sort of be part-time, whenever I could get away, for the weekend and things like that. But I was always pretty concerned and scared about what people would think, or
Yes.
losing my job or degree and things like that.
This is the Transparency Podcast Show from Long Beach, California, where we bring you life transformation stories, business, investment, personal development, entertainment, and more.
Welcome back to Transparency Podcast Show. I'm your host, Shelbe Chang. In today's episode, I'm bringing up a guest I met her years ago when I first started transition, and we crossed paths. And I remember I was asking her background, how did she become transition and everything. And when she mentioned to me that she was a doctor, and I was kind of impressed. I was like, oh wow, doctor also can be, like in their career, they are doing very a lot of patients, and they help a lot of people. So they might have a different type of attitude or different kind of acceptance towards trans people. So today I'm going to have her come on and talk about her journey, and talk about that she started a clinic called TransClinique that helps trans people to transition and all other programs that related to the organization. So I'm introduce you, Alexis Petra. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks. Thanks for having me on, Shelby.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So when I was doing the homework to prepare for the show, I found out that our birthday is on the same day.
Oh, really? February 18th?
Yes, February 18th. Yeah, so I was like, wow, that's awesome, because you're kind of like the second person in the community that I found we have same birthday. Yeah. Yeah, so even though I was saying our path only crossed that one time, long time ago in West Hollywood Pride Parade, but I've been following you and watch you your journey, and again it inspired me and kind of helped me as well to see, oh, okay, this is possible to do, and I can do this myself too and stuff. So can you share your background and your transitioning journey with us a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. Be happy to. A bit of general background in terms of like education and where I'm from. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there wasn't the greatest spot. Certainly not LA in terms of acceptance, and it was some years ago. I don't want to date myself, but a little bit old. And so it wasn't quite the easiest place to transition.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to medical school at University of Pittsburgh, and kind of focused on that for a while, in the residency and training and things like that. Yeah. And this was all, it just sort of touched my toe in the water, so to speak, in terms of transition. And in those days, I never really would have thought that I'd be here in terms of fully transition, living as a woman. I thought it would be impossible or just too scary. Mm-hmm. So probably about the time we met is when things started to feel more open,
right,
to me about the possibilities. Traveling to LA, which again has more of a community and more acceptance, and maybe that Pride weekend where we met, just be surrounded by all that love and support, really makes you kind of think about what your life could be like, and you don't necessarily have to hide.
Right.
So I think that was a really, it was probably like circa 2006 or something like that. Whenever, I really started to seriously consider transitioning more than just a sort of a part-time thing or whatnot. And again, that's probably around when we met.
Right. Yeah.
I know we met multiple times along the way in different facets, but yeah, and I started taking hormones probably not too long after that, and had pretty much all the surgeries you could think of. And,
Okay. Yeah, so you kind of go to the medical school, and then you were part-time, and then did you already transition full-time when you like really went into the medical field?
No, I hadn't been working in my prior gender for a number of years, 3 or 4 years at least, and I would just sort of be part-time. Whenever I could get away, for the weekend and things like that. But I was always pretty concerned and scared about what people would think, or losing my job or degree and things like that.
Right.
And so again, this was early 2000s, so the times weren't quite as accepting as they are now, and it might have been the smart thing to do in retrospect. But yeah, so I worked. For a while in my other gender, just kind of in my private life would be dress or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then, finally got the courage to come out at work. And most of the people that I'd worked with and colleagues had been longtime friends from, residency and school and stuff like that. So it's kind of a small community, medical community. Like even if you work in a different city, you kind of know a little bit, especially in the same specialty and things like that. So, yeah, for the best, thankfully, most people were very supportive, and people that weren't sort of come around and kind of force them to. If you're confident in yourself and you're happy with yourself, then usually, other people come around and they respect you.
Yeah, that's very true. So, when do you think like the medical field seems to be more accepting or not now, but like let's say 10 years ago, do you think that's have to do with maybe they already experienced, maybe some of the patients are in that kind of path, and so they seems like not so surprised, or they may have more knowledge behind it?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Certainly, supposedly should be more compassionate and knowledgeable about different types of people, if you're a physician in healthcare. Mm-hmm. So I imagine there's something to that, rather than, if you're working in finance or Wall Street, or, something that's more nitty-gritty, brutal, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
So I think there's definitely something to that. But at the same time, there wasn't much in the way of, like if you work for a big corporation, like a Boeing or a Google or Facebook, you have a lot more protections than I ever had in terms of, HR and stuff like that. So I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, certainly healthcare is probably one of the fields that is a little bit better about transitioning. And now I would say probably the easiest is, from what I've seen, is with friends is tech and stuff like that. Working for like a big, Facebook, Google, Salesforce.
Right. So it seems like you take what you know and what you experience and study in the medical school, and then you start a organization called TransClinique, and that's just recently started, right? Can you tell us about what's your mission behind it?
Absolutely. So I started, I call it TransClinique just because it gives it a little je ne sais quoi, a little.
Yes, I love the name.
But I started thinking about it in early 2019, which is right before the pandemic, and then of course everything kind of shut down, and so I had a little bit extra time, in that March and April, when everyone was just kind of, sheltering in place to kind of get some of the pieces together.
Yes.
But what the pandemic did do for me is make telehealth more accepted. So even like a Zoom call or something like we're doing, usually it's these types of things that have to be done in person, or certain doctor's office visits would always be in person. But now it's very much accepted, and it's almost standard to have a telemedicine, especially for something like hormones, because it's not like you necessarily have to listen to a piece hard and long. It's more just it's lab driven, and it's just kind of seeing how you respond to the estrogen or testosterone. So it works out really well, and it works out for a lot of people. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys do both in person and virtual, or just virtual?
I only do virtual.
Only virtual.
So as I don't have an actual clinic yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully one day a brick and mortar place, but I don't know where I'll put it, honestly, because I have
25 states so far.
Yeah, 25 states. So, like, where would you put it?
That's true. I don't think, like you said, people are, because of COVID, and people are more accepting to virtual, telecom. Yeah, because personally, my doctor haven't seen me for a long time, for years. Yeah, so just telecom, and there's people like my doctor. She doesn't do Zoom, so I don't see a video. Just telephone. So if a patient or member can, enroll into your program, can they choose? Some people might not be comfortable doing Zoom or have to,
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that are actually a little bit older that they've never done Zoom before, which, at this point in time I find hard to believe, but it's true. Some people just do like FaceTime. Very rarely we do, for someone that's very shy.
Yeah,
we just do either no picture on the Zoom or telephone call. Right. But I like to see the person just so I kind of have a feel of where they're at, who they are. Okay. You can tell a lot by picture.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like I can help them the most if I see them and kind of see where they're starting and what they need.
Yeah. So I got some, because we have a lot of mutual friends on Facebook and social media, and I got these questions a lot. So I want to maybe pass it on to you to see maybe you can get a better answer from the doctor. Okay. A lot of people ask me, how long will they see the result after they start taking HRT?
Sure.
They say, "Oh, how come I don't see my boobs growing? How come my face is still very manly?" And I remember I go back and ask them, "So how long have you been taking?" Some people say 3 months, 6 months, but in my mind, I think I start seeing results like at least after a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think a year is fair. You probably notice things within. Well, first of all, it depends if you're doing like sort of prescribed medicine versus getting things from the internet or something. So it's good. But as far as like just regular old prescribed medicine, the way you should, correct dose and everything, you should start seeing some results within a few months, like just your skin, hair. Your hair on your head should grow more. Your skin should get softer, a little bit less body hair, stuff like that. 6 months, 9 months is where you get sort of breast budding. You kind of get your nipples get hard and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you're really not going to get much of a chest or boobs. About a year and a half. Yeah. And also that depends on genetics too, because a lot of it is just just the way your mom and dad, or your mom is, I guess in this case, you really have to compare to that and to see how what your genetic makeup is, and it depends on your age too. So there's a lot of factors that kind of go into it. Your diet, overall health. I mean, there's so many things that can affect.
So is there a difference between oral and injection? Would injection, for some people saying, I never done injection, but so for people who've done it, they say it's faster. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's true. I think people can get caught up in like Reddit communities and different stuff like that. So I think if you're doing it right and you're doing it correctly, and your patient pills versus shot should be pretty much identical. If you take someone's blood 6 months after taking shots or 6 months after taking pills, if they're doing it correctly, it should be about the same. Yeah. Okay. And the one thing,
Okay, so I was looking around your website, TransClinique. If let's say people are interested to sign up, do they need insurance coverage to sign up with your services?
It doesn't need insurance, so it is subscription free. It costs. There's one package that's $99 a month, and that includes labs. So it includes any labs that you would need throughout the year. That's 100% covered. So the $99 a month would be basically unlimited. I usually text people, honestly, because it's like, it's like a concierge, like a private doctor. So, yeah. And so you get all, as many appointments as you want, free labs. The medications are not, you'd have to pay for those on your own. But that's the $99. The $69 one is for people that do have insurance. And that way it's cheaper because they get their labs covered and their meds covered. So most people get their labs and their meds covered by their insurance.
Okay. So for example, let's say I sign up and I want to start HRT, and what's the process? Like, do they, like, I heard you say free consultation. That's probably the first step.
So basically take an intake exam, and usually it's about a half an hour, and kind of talk and say, hey, Shelby, what medical problems do you have? Are you pretty healthy? Do you any bad habits? Do you smoke? You drink? Just kind of red flags, things like that.
Right.
If all those things are negative, if you feel, if you're very healthy, if you don't have any strange problems in the family, in terms of like blood clots or whatnot, then it can start you on hormones really fast, like within the day or two.
Okay. And go ahead.
And then we get blood work. If you have a lot of medical problems, I like to get the blood work right away, just to start and make sure you're safe. If not, then you can usually start the medicines right away, and then I do the blood work about 2-3 months later, just to make sure that measure your levels and make sure they're going the right way and not affecting your kidneys or liver or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys also provide, let's say, the letter of recommendation if your patient is taking hormones a long time and they want to move forward with, let's say, bottom surgery? Do you guys?
Yes, write letters of support for surgery, for name change, things like that. Do all those things for free. It's all included. I also, as just being around the community for a long time, you kind of get to know all of the different surgeons and specialists. So, I feel like off the top of my head, I know most surgeons that do the bottom surgery, the top surgery, whether it be Dr. Sinclair or Dr. Deschamps or Dr. Toby. I know people that have gone to them, and I can tell you the pluses and minuses with them. So I often talk about with the patients, what their best options are for surgery too.
Yeah. What kind of option? So this is kind of one of my personal questions. What kind of options does the bottom surgery have? Because I noticed there's different kind now, right? The technology is different kind. I heard there's the traditional kind is like fold in, and then I also heard of the create a death inside the vagina, right?
Yeah, kind of the newest thing that's around is it uses the part of the peritoneum, which is part of basically like the area that controls, that pushes on the intestine. So it's automatically sort of lubricated and stretchy, so you don't have to really dilate, and you don't have to douche as much, stuff like that. So it makes it a little bit easier that way, and but it's not. It's very different than the traditional surgery. So it's still, I think, still the pros and cons are still out there. I haven't met all that many girls that have had it done, but supposedly sounds promising. You know, but yeah, it'll be really good for depth and for cleaning and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you for the info. Because I'm thinking about it, but I'm not too sure which route to take, and so maybe I can ask you after the show.
I did the old school one, but I don't know. I did the old school one, but I don't know. I guess I'm still recommend.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and some people said it also depending on your sexual preference. Like, you know, if you date, let's say myself, I date men only, so I might want to look for something that's more compatible to that instead of, you know, other way around. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay.
Very true.
All right. So, besides the healthcare and the medical that TransClinique provide, I also noticed you guys have also different activities weekly. Can you share some of those activities with us?
I'm sure. So try to keep people involved as much as possible. And there's every Tuesday we have what's called Trans Tuesday, and that is about an hour and a half long. It's at 6:00 Pacific or 9:00 Eastern. And we have guest speakers. And the guest speaker could be a surgeon. It could be a famous surgeon that you would hear about that does facial feminization or the bottom surgery, breast surgery. We do have a fair number, even though it's TransClinique and I'm trans female, there's a lot of guys. So I have some things for trans guys as well. We have voice coaches that come on and talk to us. Just anybody that's kind of relative and relevant, should say, in the field of trans health or just someone interesting. And usually we have about 30, 40 people on a Zoom call every Tuesday night. And people get to know each other because most of my patients are pretty scattered all over and not all of them have a huge community of friends. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of that they get to meet people and, you know, they become friends with each other. And then we get to listen to some really good speakers. So that's all involved and free, you know, with the package as well. Okay. And there's also every Sunday, which is called Wake Up with Allie. Allie's a good friend of mine who is a PhD in kinesthetics. So she basically is like a personal trainer. And she's also in the community, and she runs a workout that you can do at home. So you don't need much more space than you have right there in front of you. And you can get a pretty good workout, you know, for your butt or your core or your, you know, thighs and stuff like that. So she does about an hour workout every Sunday morning.
So all these are on Zoom. Is it like virtual and live? Do you guys have an archive that people?
It's live. It's live.
There's no recording at all. Just one. Okay.
Allie doesn't want us to record it because she thinks that everyone won't show up until the live one.
That's smart. I should learn that part. Okay. So any last words or advice that you can share with us about, like, if anyone thinking about transitioning or in the middle of transitioning, like they might not know where to go and what to do next?
Sure. Well, other than being self-serving, you know, TransClinique is very, I just make it very convenient and it's easy to sign up. You can do it from your home, your laptop, you don't require it. But past that, advice for someone, just advice to like my younger self, for example, you know, it is scary to transition, especially the world, you know, there's a lot of politics around that is ugly against trans people, but you know, you got to live your truth, and living your authentic life will make you so much more happy, and people respect you so much more. So I think that, you know, it's very scary to transition, but you really have to do it. I recommend it highly.
Yeah, I when you just say that, I just kind of reflect, and then I agree 100% with you, because I just post something today about if you already transitioned, you already done the hardest part. Then you know your life from that point on is it's very limited, whatever you plan to do.
Yeah.
So I thank you for coming on the show to share with us, and we hope to have you come back next time and share more tips and medical healthcare information with our audience and listeners.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you.
I would love and great to catch up.
Yes,
with you.
We will catch up. Yes, that's for sure. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening. We will be back next time. Thank you.